Hey, this is Eli Campbell. You know, Steamboat is renowned worldwide for skiing, biking, and all that our natural playground has to offer. We're fortunate, though, that the natural beauty here attracts more than just outdoor enthusiasts. From local legends to world-class acts, amazing musicians regularly play the venues in our little corner of Northwest Colorado. Join me as I explore the stories and experiences of these talented artists who bring unforgettable performances to Steamboat. This is your Steamboat Sound Check. Welcome to the Steamboat Sound Check presented by McCreight Progressive Dentistry. Eli Campbell here with you. I'm happy to be joined by Patrick Harvey of Cycles. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Eli? Not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Now, you guys are going to be playing in town here at the Old Town Pub in just a couple of weeks. It's a private event for Billo Premium Cannabis. They're high vibes fueled by dialed in gummies. And I know that there's a lot of excitement from Billo and from the guys at the pub about this event. You guys are no strangers to playing at the Old Town Pub, though. Tell me a little bit about what it's like to come to Steamboat and play here.
So Steamboat is one of our favorite places to play. It's a few hours outside of Denver, so but like the vegetation, all the foliage changes pretty, quickly as you start to leave and get out that way. But ever since we started playing there, um, people have been coming out to the shows, both at Old Town Pub and at Schmiggety's. We played both of those spots several times, and yeah, it's always a good turnout, always a good time.
Now, yeah, that being said, Colorado in general has great live music and a great live music scene. A lot of dedicated music fans here that just really appreciate the type of music that you guys are putting together, just like musicianship music. So, what is it that about Colorado that's kind of shaped your approach to performing and the fans here? How do they give back to you guys?
Um, so the one thing that I think I noticed early on with when we started to play shows live was how inspiring and just how like attentive and engaged the crowd was to at any intimate show, 50 people, 15 people, 500. It was always a vibe. Everyone in that room was always so stoked like to be there and just really happy and great and gracious. And I've noticed that's kind of how it is in the jam scene everywhere you go. But Colorado it's a special place, The turnouts are always pretty good.
And you mentioned you're kind of in that jam scene, lumped into the jam band genre, but some of your influences really come from rock, Rage Against the Machine or Primus, and it gives you a little bit more of a high energy kind of rock jam feel, something that's a little bit more unique. Can you tell me a little bit about that and your kind of your background and how it shaped your music?
Yeah, so, Rage Against the Machine, Primus. I'm 33, I'll be 34 next year. And they were, big when I was growing up. Rage and Primus were huge because they had just obliterated the music scene while I was a kid. So when I became 12, 13, 14, I was like, I felt the aftermath of all of the awesomeness that they did. So, I got to see Primus a few times. I've seen them, seen Les Claypool, different times. Never seen Rage Against the Machine, but when Cycles first started, we had a different lineup, and Tucker and Wood, two of my very close friends, were in the band, and Tucker, had a pretty heavy bass sound, slap bass, kind of almost like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers meets Jaco Pastorius, and he had a really cool thing going. Meets Les Claypool, basically, So like I think that's how we got that connection to those two bands, and so now we have a different lineup, and the guys in the band, Lucas and Luke, they uh they love fusion, jazz fusion, and they're killer fusion players and prog rock lovers. So the musicianship is there, and the sounds shifted a bit over the years, but yeah, that's where we're at now is kind of a fusion phase.
Definitely a bit of a fusion phase, but I was watching some of the videos. Specifically, you have a great video on your YouTube channel of a performance you guys had at the Old Town Pub back in January 2022, I think. And Then on your Instagram, a video from a jam that you guys were doing there this past January. And you're slaying on the guitar too. So, it's definitely that rock influence is still there, but you guys have a very dynamic and spontaneous approach to your shows. How as you've changed the lineups and kind of your sound has evolved, how have you been able to maintain some of those elements that stay true to who the Cycles are?
Um, well, during the crossover, so, the new lineup, kind of that was different for the fans. I think first of all, they were just immediately, they're not in the group, so they're not at practice. They can't see how awesome things are going to be. They just know that one person's gone and that there's going to start seeing a new person. But after, these past 2 or 3 years, that Lucas has really shown to be like proven to be an incredible bass player. And when Luke, made the switch, it really did like lead us into a direction that was more about musicianship, like you've been saying,
Yeah.
which we're cool with that. There's great bands that have gone that route that have contributed greatly to all music and all genres, like Snarky Puppy and other great bands that fuse genres. And we're obviously not a 15 or whatever piece band, but with Cycles, being three members, if you're able to work the three piece in an improvisational setting to your advantage, it's actually more fun than being restrained by um, more players on stage and not being able to play as many notes, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's something I've been working on too, is dialing it back for the next record. Not the one that's dropping out today, but like the
Yeah.
next one that's going to come out, or not this year, next year, whenever we drop this next one, it's going to be pretty smooth. And, who knows what that'll turn out like. But, when we get on stage and just kind of blast off, that's our sound and it's improvisational. And that's what's kept the Cycle sound alive, is the improvisation. And so I'm a big believer in that for sure.
There any time that you can recall that an improvisation kind of you guys just started going off in a direction that was completely unexpected, and you kind of almost found something new within the band just from what you are typically doing on stage every night?
So yes. There's been several times where that's happened. There's been several shows. Um, this past tour, we played a show in Cincinnati, and it was on a Sunday night, and Saturday night we were supposed to play in Columbus, but the show got canceled for some reason, some miscommunication. And so we were like, the guys were bummed. Sometimes you're stoked to get a night or two off on tour, but they were like ready to play. So I called my cousin in Cincinnati. I was like, "We need a show, man. We're gonna roll into town." He's like, "All right, well, we'll put you guys outside the bar on the sidewalk, and you can play outside," because it was during this Blink weekend. It's like an art weekend, art walk thing in Cincinnati, and it's pretty cool. So we played during that weekend. We played, Van Halen, Hot for Teacher outside to, at like 10 p.m., on a Sunday night. And it was just, so loud, raging. Uh, and then we moved it inside and played another 2 hours inside this tiny little, I mean, you could probably only fit 40 or 50 people in there. No PA in there, just using the monitors as sound for this gig. And it was like the most, improvisational show we've probably ever played with this three piece, and that'll happen every once in a while. It just you got to be ready for it. And with the way tour works, you're tired some nights, people stay up some nights, but the energy is moving always. And when you get on stage, that's when we harness it and it blasts off. But there's been, all the Beanstalk shows I feel like are always really good for Cycles, and there's been so many. We're getting to be about, I think, almost 700 shows or something that we played.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit about you've got some new music that you've been working on. You released the song "Another World." Talk a little bit about kind of that song and what fans can expect as you're coming here to the Old Town Pub to play here in just a couple of weeks. Kind of what the fusion of new to old sounds will be.
So, yeah, Another World, this new album, I've been working on it for 2 years. Luke and I are kind of like the main engineer and producers on the record this time. And Lucas, he had just joined recently, so he did make some incredible contributions. But the way that this record was created, I tracked everything first at home and made demos with R. And I, even used sample drums, just the bare bones demos and bare bones demo and brought it to Denver and brought it to Luke's studio. He took the drums out and then, put new drums in there and turn this demo into a real recording. He's got an awesome record basically. This drum room he's got at his house. He's figured out a way to get the best drum sound. It's like an 80s fusion drum sound mixed with like a 90s kind of hard rock alternative prog rock sound that he fuses together. And I think that the drum sound is about 75% of the record. And he crushed it. So that Another World track was actually, I went to Luke with some songs and we're listening to him in his listening room and he's like, I don't know if these are as good as he's like, this is good, but I know you can do better. He's like, go home and write something better and bring it back here. And it's true. I was lazy. I just had found some nice chord progressions that were fun to solo over. He was like, make something cooler. And so I came back with that Another World. So that's what we decided to release. And we'll be doing some new songs at in Old Town Pub.
Yeah, I mean, we've been starting to play a little bit of that in Another World on our Steamboat Locals Choice for Music, and along with some other songs that are getting a lot of excitement and certainly bringing a lot of buzz for this High Vibes Billo Customer Appreciation Party. It's at the Old Town Pub on November 15th. And really excited to have you guys come back to Steamboat because every time you're here, we just rave reviews, such fun times. So I know you've got a show to get off to tonight, but excited to see you here in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.